Hi there again. Sorry, it's a bit dark in here, but prop this up a bit. It's probably better that way. Keep my belly out. Don't look as fat. Um, yeah, I was watching a couple of movies, Stand By Me, and I watched that Megan Fox one, Subservient, but I don't know. The movies these days lack a bit of soul or something. I don't know what it is. I think people just get sick of making movies and just want a quick buck, you know. But when you look at back at the years, you know, a lot of movies were like that anyway. Back in the day, they made cop dramas and millions of movies. Really, they were just cheap, quick little. They probably cost $1 million to make, you know. But not saying that one didn't probably wasn't quite a big production, but it didn't grab me at all. It's probably a bit like that. What's that movie about the not the babysitter, but she was like a house helper or something that come to the house, and I can't remember her name. She's quite a pretty lady, but she looks really evil when she's playing a bad role. She's got blonde hair. Someone like Faye Dunaway, or she's got a name like that. I can't think of it, but Sissy Spacek or one of those. Not her. I had a bit of not a crush on her because I didn't know her, but just I liked her face. You know, she was pretty. And it's like one of those movies where the housemaid starts out nice and then turns evil and tries to kill them, and then they fight it off with stabbing, and they end up happy ending, but same old sort of formula. But this time it was a robot. So, what's her name? Just had it. But, not Bridget Bardot, but a name like that, a catchy name like that. Anyway, it doesn't matter. That's the old film I was thinking of. But, so yeah, I was just watching Stand By Me, and my brain automatically goes, "Who's this? Who's this? Who's this? And who's this from my past?" You know, I'm of course a skinny little gaudy one. You know, LeChance. I used to call myself LeChance online, so I was kind of like a French frog or something I used to put on there, and but I don't know who the other ones are really. I mean, there was a guy who used to hang around a little bit with camping who had glasses. It looked a bit like the Corey Feldman character. I think he took drugs and died, overdosed. But I can't quite pick the River Phoenix one. He's either Campbell Bell or Craig Wells or Taz Jers or someone a bit older, a bit bigger than me. But he looks a bit like Peter Pan, doesn't he, River Phoenix? But yeah, he doesn't quite fit anyone I really knew. There was one guy I knew, didn't really know, but I always wanted to know him. He used to go up the snow. Can't remember his name. Who looked a lot like him. I always wanted to be his friend. We weren't in the same financial circles, you know. I think he went away to a private school or something. Can't think of his name. Chris, someone used to run the ski resort, I think on Stirling or something. Yeah, I really liked him. I thought he was a nice guy, but yeah, I'm probably the little skinny gaudy one. I suppose Brad Wells is probably the one that looks the most like the guy from, is it Stargate or something? Who lost the weight. He was a tubby little guy. I can't even think of the names of the characters at the moment. I'm tired, but my eyes are a bit sore too. I feel like I gritting it all day. I keep rubbing it. I hate when I get that. Now it feels like I was gritting it again. I don't know where it comes from. It's like a little feeling in my eye, like there's something in there. Like I can't find anything in there, like a hair or something. Anyway, eventually it will go. Might be the back of the eye. That's why I can't sort of rub it. Might be sort of sitting underneath the eyelid. But yeah, I was just thinking back to my old days, all the friends and people I knew, and I had some nice friends, you know, some sort of, I didn't know why I was friends with them that much. They were fun to be around, but I always felt like I wasn't really meant to be there. I should have grown up at the beach up the coast somewhere up near Byron Bay, up near Mum's family, but we sort of I think it was more Dad's choice to stay down close to Melbourne because he had his family here. So I mean, it's natural to go with the Dad's sort of side of the family, I suppose. I mean, Mum always got blamed for not living closer though, so to her family. So it would have been nice to be up on the beach, but we ended up at sort of a lake and the river sort of area. So I grew up in the lake and rivers, which I don't know. Maybe it's for a good reason. Maybe I might have drowned or something trying to swim because I wasn't a good swimmer and I wasn't very comfortable with the beach and the surf and all that. So maybe it's better. I don't know. There's always some reason probably why we're still alive. We must be doing the right thing, mustn't we? If we're still here, so all my family's still around, so we must be all doing a good job. So that's what I put it down to. I wanted to say before about how when I was a kid, that around this age, Stand By Me, it takes me back to that time. I lived in High Street, 177 High Street, which is in Mansfield, near the entrance as you go through the first section of shops on the right, and there's paddocks and sort of a wetland on the left. They've turned to a wetland. There used to be a railroad going through town. They tore that out before we moved there and put in a walking track eventually. And I think it goes all the way up to near Kilmore. It goes all the way like 200 k's or something up to there. You can ride it's called the Great Bike Trail or something. So it goes all the way down past my old house. The house isn't there, just a vacant block, but there's a sort of a new information centre next to it, then the old train station. And I used to live right there where there's a little tap in the corner, where the corner of my... there's some big old knobbly sort of trees out the front. And there was two houses there, and then the water board was next to it. Sort of, this guy used to go and do water testing. I was a bit cheap. I used to piss in his water meter sometimes. Yeah, we're a bit dirty. Me, one of my friends used to shit everywhere, and it was influenced by my friends in not good ways. Some were thieves and some were shoplifters and some were bloody just dirty cunts and shit on the floor at the train station. I wasn't really like that. I was a good little kid, but I got led around by my friends that way, and it's kind of how you get into fun and mischief. It's pretty normal, I think. Yeah, I probably did things too without knowing. Probably a little bit cruel to my cat when I was a little kid, locking it in the cupboard, and I learned not to be that later on. But you don't know everything growing up till you're an adult, really, and even then you got to learn about adulthood, don't you? You know about being a child by the time you're an adult, and you know about being an adult by the time you're probably middle-aged, and then after that you're probably learning more about the world and world history and stuff, so that's sort of where I'm entering. I remember being married in previous lifetimes and having good marriages. It's probably why I don't have one now. I had such a good one before, and maybe I've learnt that lesson, but it'd be nice to still be married or have a girlfriend, I think. Just for my sake, my sanity, my happiness, and for her too. I think I make a good boyfriend, but I won't harp on about that. But it's just money, really. I don't get out much. But yeah, when I was a kid, when I was around that age, living in High Street, I never really wanted to be anything. I always thought at some stage I'm going to be crowned a prince or something. I had that in my mind. Something's going to happen and something's going to discover me. I'm going to be crowned Prince of Australia, and sort of getting through uni, all that rave thing happened and that dream got lost. So by the time I met my princess, I wasn't well. So, yeah, probably a plot to kill the royal family or something in Australia. I don't know. That's in my heritage, my blood, so I'm in the bloodlines for that. But I couldn't understand sort of why people wanted to be things. I never wanted to be anything like a doctor, a nurse, or a fireman, or I couldn't imagine I'd be any of those things. It seemed like pigeonholing myself. I was sort of more of a... I just wanted to understand sort of what it was like being a Buddha, or like being the Buddha, like understanding God or understanding myself as a god or something. I used to walk around examining life all the time, how sunlight touched my face and how I related to animals and plants and people, and sort of understanding why I existed, and constantly battling with this thought in my mind about a secret in my mind I couldn't understand, that only I had, no one else had, so I couldn't share it with anyone. There was no one to tell. It's like if I had told them, they wouldn't ever get it. It was just something only I knew. I couldn't tell anyone else. It's like every time I tried to tell someone, the conversation would divert to something else. I tried to tell my friends up in Sydney when we went to the art galleries in year 12. I think it was year 12. They took us away on a trip up there, and I tried to tell them I had this sort of secret belief, but then Paul, this other guy, sort of changed the conversation, said how he sees the world or something in his mind. It's two colours or something. I didn't really understand. They're saying it's red and black or something. So I don't know. Maybe he doesn't want me to share that, but it's part of my life, something I remember. So but I wanted to tell them that I felt like that I was I didn't have a word for it because I didn't know about the Hare Krishnas. So I never met that faith, that Krishna faith, to understand there might be a Godhead. I always had that negative Christianity view that Christ was a bad person or something, he had to be crucified. And so I never wanted to come out with that kind of tell anyone that. I'd just keep it all locked up, not tell anyone in case someone tried to hurt me, So I never had that idea there might be a Godhead. So someone who is like the overseeing sort of halo, or the enlightened sort of force of the world that brings light, or but later on I just looked in my soulmate's eyes. I knew everything. I just knew eternity. As soon as I looked in her eyes, it would come from opposite sides of the universe at some point, being creation. And in that moment we met, I'm a little bit saddened by the fact that I wasn't well and I couldn't stay there. The illness, the problem I was facing led me away, to look away. But if it wasn't for that, I would have stayed and just stared in her eyes forever. She was curled up in a seat. I was playing guitar to her, and I couldn't play the song. It was too heartbreaking that in the back of my mind I thought I'd never see her again, that somehow I was destined to go to hell. I was so unwell and in purgatory, and trying to express love from purgatory to a normal little girl curled up staring at you with such admiration and love in her heart and eyes, just smiling at you and staring at the beautiful eyes, glowing almost into yours. And in that moment, all those graven images of the Hare Krishna being Indian, and it fell away, and I just saw this beautiful sort of two little blondies, little blonde people curled up in each other's arms, almost like the same body, And I battled with it. Is that my daughter? Someone playing a trick on me? I still wonder, why I felt so close to this girl, and why I felt that we looked so similar. And there's some photos I look like we're twins, Maybe it's just I met my female twin soul. But a few things bothered me, Like I was in the car one day with a mum, and I said, how dare you say I can't see her? She's my daughter. I can see her if I like. And it just came out from nowhere. I don't know why I said that, But it felt like it was God in me saying it's my daughter, my creation, But so I don't know why I said that. So I hope she doesn't, if she ever sees that, doesn't get worried or upset. But yeah, and when I was in the garden with the two of them, her and her mother said, sort of like channeling it from her daughter, "Are you my daddy?" And I just thought, what is that? She asked me, are you my daddy? I still wonder, is that like a spiritual thing? Is that like Christian sort of stigma? That somehow I'm some father in heaven or something. But, I wonder about it because we looked so similar, and someone played a trick on me who didn't like me, something I did, and abused or assault me when I was 12, and have this child, because she's 12 years younger. And Yeah, it'd be nice to clear that up someday. I don't know when, if it ever happens, but then I noticed all of her family are like my family soulmates. So I could see the similarity in my sister and her brother, and my mum and her brother, and her dad and my sister, and her and my mum and her other brother. So it's like we're Ken and Barbie families, you know. Just something happened in our family. Just you know, I feel like something happened to my older sister that probably shouldn't have, but it was led on by something happened to my dad, and it sort of led down the line to me eventually at the rave, and my other sister, you know, and they've had problems since. And but no families without problems. But I just wish we had a happier time and met on better circumstances, and I might have fallen in love, and um, might have been Ken and Barbie sort of world blossoming from that somehow. I mean, I don't think these worlds of like that sort of like forget the toy world of the movie. Ken and Barbie's more like world leaders. You know, they have a beautiful big mansion. They come out dressed up very well. They're very well to do. Um, they might have fun playing around, but they're very serious people. They're fairly well middle class. They're not at the top or the bottom. They're around the middle, and I think that's what this whole Krishna, Christ, Prince, royalty is. This kind of Ken and Barbie world, well ordered, well structured, well moral fibre. You know, not just porn stars that rape and root everything, and very moral fibre. They have their parties, they have the masquerade balls, and they're all their sort of fun, sort of sex orgies and things behind the scenes. It's private, but Ken in the end has sort of women all over the world at every destination, really, of some kind of Barbie sort of girl that he marries, and I just wish it had been my journey might have been more like that, jet setting and traveling, and I think that break from my dad losing his dad really upset the whole billy cart, and mum losing her mum early too. Just on our side of the family, just upset things, and I think it's probably caused by just some kind of cosmic sort of collapse somewhere has affected the stars aligning properly, and the world's coming together properly. I do believe that, like an organism that suffers trauma, eventually the pathways wind around and lead back and heal and mend. There might be scarring, but eventually all that mends up. I think eventually, and I think the cosmos is kind of a biology anyway, kind of an ecosystem or physique. It's almost a physique that if it's scarred, it will eventually, after a long time, heal up eventually. And we're like the little workers doing the work too for the cosmos to heal it up. That's how I see our role in this being that we're inside of, whether it's a god or just a mysterious shape or a mysterious sort of energy field or whatever we're in. I think we do have a genuine responsibility to take care of our world that we're in. You know, if we don't, it could severely impact our lives. You know, beyond what we're going through now, it's affecting the financial sectors, and I sincerely believe we should be getting more as a security income, just to maintain our good health, and our happiness to on a basic living standard, so we can afford a home to live in and not just rent. We should be able to just afford a basic home to live in, and then have a base to work from. I mean, it's important during the space age to have bases and have places to live, and you can't just expect one sector of the world to be doing that. It has to be for everyone. If that imbalance just stays that way, you get these influxes of population in different races and different areas, and it's very detrimental to the earth to have these influxes of population to make up for these losses. It should be more broadly evened out and balanced on the earth. Like if you're making a garden, you let the weeds take over one area, and then all the other plants fight back to take over that space. maybe a bad analogy, but um, you get really bad growth, and a lot of animals can't live there in those sort of areas. They find nettles and things they can't live in. Like if you get down the creek areas and dig out all the trees, you'll get nettles everywhere, and the animals can't get to the water. So um, I'm not saying different races are nettles, but it's just an analogy for a misbalanced garden. And any Asian or Zen or Japanese or even anyone would understand a well balanced garden attracts the right sort of animals and the right sort of balance to the ecosystem. And um, we're always trying to make these unnatural gardens, but we should be able to live in a world where gardens just blossom and bloom the right way. And we should be able to live amongst that in sustainable eco sort of systems and houses, even high rises. Could be better. I can think of better structures that are more organic, even sort of like this, have a building like this and have a garden underneath and have all sort of terraces coming up. And why do they have to be blocks like this, stuck in the middle of nowhere, so unattractive? You make all sorts of organic shapes to live in, the tunnels that go through, and not anything sinister that people get lost or hurt in, but just, you don't have to have elevators. Then you could just have, if the structures are built like this, you could just walk up, have doorways in each sort of finger where the nails are, and then walk up steps to your plateau. You could have a little all sorts of things, have sort of not steps, but like a disability sort of, have them sprawled out like this. So you walk in the door and then just walk up the ramps up to all along the houses, or you don't have to have stairs or elevators. You can just walk up the ramps. Would be a much simpler, better idea. It might spread out a bit, but plenty of area. God, in Australia, you could have them everywhere. The sort of things like that, or even one like that would be good. Where you walk in the bottom and walk up ramps up to you. Think about hand shapes coming out of the earth would look cool, wouldn't it? Live in a hand, and you'd have a swimming pool in the palm of your hand. I have all sorts of funny ideas like this, all the time. I don't know one to share them with, and I can't imagine the world if I had the right to rule it the right way, and I'd include everyone, and everyone would get what they want. It's not about ruling with an iron fist or with power. Just love, really. Just loving what you're doing, loving the work blossoming, loving seeing the world regenerating. And eventually, there'll be so much land mass, the way I see the world restoring, that it could happen in, you could do it in a few hundred years, get it back to ship shape again where it's working and using robots. And it's not about changing anything really, it's just about enriching what's here. The ideas I have beyond robots, all sorts of things, we're sort of stuck at that mathematics and robotics, and I thought way beyond that. But yeah, I just don't have the support around me. Some reason I've been put in this building and everyone's sort of left, and sort of like being a negative space here in a way. I've tried to make it a positive one, but it's still, this whole sort of suburb feels like a negative space to me where I'm not being nurtured. But yeah, coming back to that feeling as a kid, I just thought, I just wanted to understand what being a Buddha or a God, or I never thought I'd sort of blossom more into some kind of spiritual Superman, or sort of go beyond being just a God to becoming a Superman. In spirit, still a human being, but my spirit's a superpower. So, yeah, it's doing great things around the world. The love could be reciprocated. There wouldn't be so many people suffering or being punished by any kind of. It's not anything I'm doing. It's their sort of absence. Their kind of misdirection or neglect, really, that they're being punished for. So, if they are at all, I don't punish people. I don't have bad thoughts, but it's them doing it to themselves. My good spirit's out there doing us good work, and they're probably battling it and fighting it. And it's like, don't fight it, just enjoy it. It's all natural, it's all organic. It's almost like this world's becoming a matrix. in a way, it's feeding through this matrix, which is like all my desires and hopes for the world blossoming, and it'll become probably visible what it is. You'll probably see little green letters flowing down your walls, like the matrix. But I promise you, it's an organic, natural thing. It's not some artificial simulacra or simulation. It's the real world. So it's just a lot of people are getting left behind. They're just not doing their work. They're not doing what's expected of them to make me happy. So I'm trying my best. I'm just not getting the money in. I can't please all these. I have to call people whores to keep them away because I can't afford to take care of them. All these people that want money from me, I don't have it. So I'm not crowned a king to take care of all these prostitute sort of girls that really just want someone to financially look after them. I could look after them all if I had the means. So I've had to sort of, for my own heart and soul and feelings, I had to brush them all away. I can't support people like that who want money from me. So if I gave someone $20 or $50 for these petrol things that they ask to come around and do this, the next week I wouldn't have it, and then I'm back to where I was. It's almost like it's a vicious cycle. And I don't have a need, I wouldn't have the money for it. So, and in a way, that's something I can't do anyway. It's sort of sinful to do that because I'm paying someone for sex. Really, they should enjoy it themselves as well. So it shouldn't be for sex. It should be a reciprocated love. So I'm really, really at this stage looking for someone who just accepts me the way I am, to love me this way. Maybe one day I'll have a kingdom and take care of all these women and find them suitable, healthy relationships, if not with me, with someone else or my children, or when they're growing up. Or I think a lot of these people wandering out alone are probably meant to be with my children by now. They're young, attracted to me because I'm probably carrying their partners, and I can't give birth to them. I don't have a partner, so I find it hard without that money around. The money they cut back. Sort of got to a certain point. I think they thought, that's an acceptable level. We'll just cut it off. It's like, no, it has to keep inflating forever, until it turns into a credit and then something else, and then you lose interest in that, and then you start mining kryptonite, maybe finding some other mineral that's new. All sorts of new things will probably eventuate. Eventually. Why just get stuck in the mire, stuck in some quagmire, some sort of situation where everything's just stale, That's where I'm at. Everything's stale. Nothing's happening, I'm trying to do things. I bought this inverter. I didn't have plugs, so I had to buy some plugs from Bunnings. But this attaches to a lithium battery, like a 12-volt car-looking battery, and a deep cycle one though, and then you can plug in all your peripherals. And I've got plugs in there, and then plug in like your lights or your guitar or whatever. And it inverts 12 volts to 240 volts AC, 12 volts DC, direct current, into 240 volts or 230 volts AC. So you can take it camping, plug it in your battery, and then plug your solar power to your battery, your solar panels to your battery, and it charges it up while you're running that. So I think my 240 watt panels are probably good enough. I got a mat would probably charge the battery enough, but enough to keep it going. And then when you get home, you plug it in the mains. Get a proper lithium. I've got a lithium charger. It's a 50 amp hour, so it's not good enough. It always shows the battery half full. So I've got to get 100 or a 200 AH one compatible, or otherwise it will just keep showing the wrong value. So I might stop there. Sort of doing the round trip from childhood to all this fantasy world and back to reality. Where I'm at is doing solar panels. Maybe get a job doing it. I know I need a job. I need some work, or I don't know how to get a job without money. I've got $3 in the bank. How am I going to get a job? $3 in the bank. Jobs take work and effort and that to actually get one. I don't understand the government's ambition here. What they're trying to do. What is it? Child pornography? What are they? What are they trying to get out of their population? Do they have an agenda at all that's positive, or is it just all made up crap that doesn't mean anything? They should be dishing out the money to us, getting something happening. They invest all this money in everything else but people, and people are the best resource. So I don't understand the thinking there, giving us a penance to live on. It lasts me 3 days, pay me bills and everything, and then I have to suffer for the next 10 days. I don't think in this day and age, with all technology and all the things we've got and the bells and whistles, we should be going through this kind of suffering. We should be able to afford a basic living, regardless if we're working. So all workers, all people, everyone should get this basic living payment, and then from there they can work for the luxuries in life, which are like the things I want. I want a projector, I can't afford it. I want a better couch. Just little comforts, and all these little things affect your life. I shouldn't be living here. I should be in a mansion, Ken and Barbie by now, but I gotta slowly creep along like a little creepy little thing, trying to collect my life back to what it should be. I'm not putting pressure on my soulmate to marry her. It could be anyone, really. It's millions of different. I have a million women probably to choose from. I could marry out there, like they have a million men too. It's not a set formula, but that's just the ideal. I think that's the idealized Krishna sort of Jesus, Mary, Romeo, Juliet sort of ending, isn't it? Without the death, not the tragedy, the success story, where everyone's happy for them to be together. And when I met this girl, everyone was just like, no, you can't go, oh, you can't do that, oh, you're a pedophile, oh, you're this, oh, you're that. Just because I love someone, so it could have been any age. What if it was a granny? Oh, you're a sick, granny fucker, no matter what you do, there's always something wrong with you. There's someone on your back that's like, look, love respects age barriers and everything. You don't do things unless it's lawful and safe, So I don't understand all the negativity really, but it's because I wasn't well, and we should have met and probably been friends and family friends, and I think our family should have met somehow a bit earlier, and I might have met her as an infant when I was 12 and growing up that way and then falling in love, or it was all sorts of things. Or maybe it wasn't just her, maybe there's another family somewhere I might have met someone, or this one or that one. Like, I'm not putting pressure on her to be the one, I don't like doing that, but because I think she's already married, so. But yeah, I knew a girl once when she was just starting high school. She went out with an adult, and she was in like year 7, and she went out with a guy who was, in his mid-20s or something. And, her family let her do that. Family gave her permission to do that. So it didn't do her any harm, but she ended up with this thing of going out with older guys, I suppose. But she was always very mature for her age. So. Yeah, I'm not saying that's the be all and end all. Just find someone you love, and I adored this girl so much, like my twin I'd met. Maybe twins are a joke. Maybe someone roots you when you're young, has your kid, and then you fall in love with them, and you become a twin. I don't want to think that. I want to think that she's some kind of other clan from my past, and from Scotland or somewhere that I've gone through life and never properly married her, never. That would have been the time we really truly married. And yeah, I just hope she's not some kind of trick someone's played on me or something. But I don't go there anymore. I just think of other things, but that just brought it up. But yeah, end on a happy note. Might watch the rest of Stand By Me. It's a good film. I had to get rid of Paramount. They said a 7-day trial period, so I signed up for that. They charged me for it, and then the movies wouldn't work, so I asked for a refund, and they're saying, oh no, we don't do that, refunds. It's like, yeah, but your service is defective. The movies I wanted wouldn't stream, so I'm in emails again with them, and someone else has locked one of my other emails, Microsoft, I don't know what, I haven't done anything, so... Oh, and they can't fix it because my phone number, I needed another phone. I'm like, I've got one phone. What am I going to do? All these stupid things with technology that just shouldn't be like that, Who's the security for? For us or someone else? Who are they trying to secure? It's supposed to be for the end user who owns the machine, isn't it? It's my machine. I bought it, and I mean, I don't understand the thinking. Who they're trying to serve? Just themselves, aren't they? Really. Anyway, I don't want to be pessimistic. I'll stick to the positivity. I think I've just been home too long. I need a job. Get out of this house. All right. I'll see you later. Cheers.